repeat that I called the meeting to order. John
Here.
Ann's here, Kathy,
Here.
Brian,
Here.
and Jeff.
Here.
Okay. The first item on the agenda is an appointment of an interim principal assessor.
All right, so as you know, Michelle has taken another job, so we've hired David Billard to serve as our interim principal assessor. David comes with 16 years as the principal assessor in Andover and 16 years in Reading as well. So because of some of the requirements for the assessor to sign off on documents and in the gateway system, I just wanted to have the select board vote to approve this. It's debatable whether it was necessary or not, but I thought just to make sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any further discussion?
Ready for a motion?
Yes.
I move the select board approve the appointment of David Blood as interim principal assessor due to resignation.
Second.
Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Kathy?
Yes.
Ann says yes.
John, yes.
Nicely done.
Put pressure on you.
Practice.
Right, the next
He didn't trip over any words.
issue, the next thing is to approve and sign the annual town meeting warrant. And I was surprised, I thought we had changed the order of some things,
We did.
and it wasn't reflected in what was sent out. Either version.
I think there's a fifth.
The version, I made those corrections on Friday, so it would have been included in that
Oh, okay,
since Friday.
Yeah,
okay.
well, it's still 3 versions back.
Yeah.
What specifically, Ann, were you looking
Yeah.
at? Because I have a paper copy of
Okay.
the most recent one.
Here
What-
it is as well.
What,
All right, good. You got handouts here?
I saw Tappan Street down further.
yes, that was my,
Yes, Tappan Street is now down Article
Then I
15.
can take one.
good, yes,
And?
yes.
There
Yep.
you go. Yeah, Tappan was rearranged.
No,
Yeah.
the
And
Look at the one that's,
I-
sent 6 weeks ago.
30 minutes ago.
I did have one question, Tony,
This
on
is a
Want a
good
copy?
one.
Yeah.
Right.
Want that?
the article.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a copy for Sarah?
Oh,
That's right,
Oh,
that's all right.
if this hasn't changed in
Just-
the last, few hours, she can have mine, because I have my own paper copy. I guess that was debatable.
Apparently that's even on, right before the FinCom voted, I was wondering whether the FinCom votes went in yet.
they're not in our copy here.
Yeah, so there's 2 different documents. There's
yes,
the
that's
warrant
the
that the constable posts at 4 different locations. We try to minimize the length of that, so it just is the warrant articles and the ballot questions on it. And then there's another version which goes into the FinCom book that includes all of the recommendations.
Right.
So what we're doing right now is the warrant for the constable.
Okay, so my question is on Article 6, because we pulled out the Senior Community Center from the long list of capital stuff, so it would be its own article, which I think was a very good idea, but there's no dollar amount.
It will be in the packet that goes into the FinCom book. There's a chart underneath it that says 350,000 from the recreation revolving account. So the article doesn't typically, the article will say a sum of money, because if that number changes between the time of the posting and town meeting, you can make that correction through a motion. But we have it in the FinCom document. If you move over to page 6, which I think is behind you here. It says open.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, you go to page
So
6.
which one do the residents see?
This version.
They will see this version.
This is what they'll see in the FinCom book.
Okay.
As long as we're on this, 350, that's just, I guess, the schematics, is that that's the construction?
It's construction.
It'll include construction documents. You mean oversight during construction?
Well, it says here, design services up to schematic design, it should be up to construction documents, shouldn't it?
We talked about that a little bit at the finance committee meeting, and then I spoke with legal, and they felt that, the included related and incidental costs will cover, the bid documents and all that stuff that
Right, no, just
would
because
fall under
schematic
the
to me
contract.
means that there's more documents to come. All right, as opposed to a CD set.
Is that an official construction
Yeah,
term?
when I look at a set of drawings, I might get schematics, then I'll get design drawings, and I know that another set of drawings is coming out until I get the CDs. All right?
Construction
documents,
drawings,
Construction documents,
okay.
all right? So when I look at schematics, I think that that's just preliminary and.
Another step.
More, I mean, it's just a semantics thing, I don't know.
Well, the 350 quote is, I guess, up to CD, through CD, yeah. And then when I spoke about it with legal, they said this is the language they had put forward for
Okay.
us.
Well, I mean, be prepared to ask, someone's gonna say, well, what happens after that?
I mean, just so you're aware, Brian, we approved schematics last year
So we should be going.
for
Conceptual.
50,000.
That was conceptual.
the
Schematic
language
is,
last time?
schematic
It's
is
all
next
semantics, I
layer.
know it's semantics, okay, but be prepared for someone to say, well, what's schematics as opposed to $350,000 for schematics, that means there's gonna be more money coming as we move along. So,
Well, I'll ask it, and if we have to like clarify it through the motion that's read at town floor, we'll make sure
I would do that
clear.
because I think, people are gonna be surprised by this. So if
set
it's
of
really
bid
gonna
documents
take
for
us
350,
further,
For
yeah,
350 for bid documents,
Yeah.
that's great.
Right.
Schematics,
you're running the risk of people saying no if we're only gonna get a schematic design for this.
Mhm.
maybe just change it to bid documents and then we can just leave it at that.
Well, that's an estimate, and what are documents as a percentage of total project? Is this all over the map? That's not a,
And these should be very simple drawings.
yes, we've already
Yeah,
got,
it's not that big.
You know, we're not, I think that once we hammer out the interior design and then, the materials, it's gonna be as simple, there's not gonna be a lot of revisions to that.
mm-hmm,
So I'll,
Yeah, just
I
run it
know,
by
I
me.
know the 350 is to carry us through,
Just find out if.
to be ready to bid. So I'll make sure if we have to,
I'd like to see maybe just change it to
Motion.
bid documents.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that changed in the past, 5 hours in the warrant?
in the warrant, in Article 5, Bennett Street was labeled as Bennett Street reconstruction, and that 150 is for design, so that was edited to say Bennett Street design. In Article 11, it was just we had to add the words "or convenient to," just because that article is specific to language required for SRF funding. So that "or convenient to" had to be added in there. And then on the ballot questions, the last ballot question ended in a period, and it needed to end in a question mark. So we talked about a couple weeks ago where the warrant, we're posting and approving the town election warrant and the town meeting warrant together tonight. And what that does is it it requires one registration deadline for voters,
Okay.
instead of having two separate registration deadlines.
You say registration debt, you're talking about the voter
Voter
registration debt.
And it's earlier than,
It's-
they're both on the first date.
I'll have to ask that, double check that. Whether they're both on the first date or both on the second date. I think it would be the first.
Okay.
So, I can just quickly run through all the articles unless you guys feel pretty,
We should probably vote to support or not support.
we were gonna do that next.
That's next.
We were
So
gonna
first
do
we
that
publish the
next.
warrant and then we vote what we recommend.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, 1 through 5 are standard, 6 is the senior community center,
Mhm.
7 is Essex Tech, 8 is the regional school district, 9 is OPEB, 10 is revolving funds, those are all standard. 11 is PFAS capital debt exclusion, 12 is culvert capital debt exclusion, 13 is dredging capital debt exclusion, 14 is rotunda capital debt exclusion, 15 is Tappan Street debt exclusion.
And 16.
16 is the article we're using for basically snow and ice. So that we're using free cash or undesignated fund balance for that. Again, it's more thoroughly explained in the other document. 17 is paying the principal and interest on the debt for the water meter project.
Just the water meter or whatever's been spent on that 7.5?
Well, the 164 for the interest, when we go out for that short-term ban, it does lump in some other water capital as well. We're using taxation to pay that 164 interest, but on the 271, which is paying down principal, that is for the,
Peter, I think you need to mute yourself. Unless you'd like to comment.
the 271 is to pay the principal amount of the debt that was solely for the water meter project, and that's coming from the enterprise fund through the capital fees that we added.
Yep.
Can I just, the finance committee had asked that article reference the fact that it was for water meters.
Yes, again, in the book, I added an explanation that says, this article is to pay debt service for water capital borrowing that is due in fiscal year '26. Town utilize short-term borrowing to fund and initiate the water meter upgrade project that is currently in progress. $164,000 of taxation is being used to pay the interest due, and $271,000 raised from capital assessment fees in the water enterprise account is being used to pay down a portion of the principal. Uh, 18 is a capital exclusion for the ADA bathroom at the library. 19 is CPC, and then we get into zoning. 20,
But I don't. Special meeting. Where is the meeting? Where is it?
Peter, you are not on mute.
If you want the meeting, we're in Town Hall, room 5.
Well, I don't.
That's up to
I don't think I have to sign in. I just join meeting.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can hear us.
so why is this not on?
It's there, but yeah.
Usually meetings are under 1620.
Peter, can you hear us now?
You turned on something.
They want to
Hold on, can you hit the audio button there, because we're getting echo. They can still hear us though, right? They can hear us? Can they hear us?
Yep.
Okay. I'll sign in too, so this way if anybody else is on mute, I can, turn them off. All right, 18, library capital exclusion, 19, CPC. 20 is downtown zoning, 21 is senior housing, 22 is,
How are we going to explain, I mean, the senior housing sounds as, there's not much explanation here. Who is, I assume the planning board is going to speak to that, will they have
Mhm.
handouts or something so that,
yeah, so the book, the FinCom book has appendices for each of these zoning articles. The
Okay.
first one is their recommendations, all together.
Mhm.
And then for downtown zoning, it's the language and the map. For senior housing, it's the and then the rest of them, it's all language. So in the book that everybody's gonna get, which will be published online tomorrow, or as soon as we have the final proof, and the book that everybody gets at their house, they'll have all of that information in the back of the book.
Okay, so they are expected to go to the online,
Again, what we're looking at is what gets posted by the constable at the four
I
locations.
do understand that, I'm just worried that nobody else is going to have any more idea of what this is about than I do, and I have very little.
Planning board will have to make that.
Yeah, they have to,
I'm suggesting that somebody lean on the planning board and make sure that they go beyond, look it up online.
but you get it in the book.
It's in,
Well, it'd be in the
the
book,
language is
right.
gonna be in the book.
I understand, but this is also language and it.
No, I would expect that the planning board, someone from the planning board will speak to this and dumb it down for you and I.
Yeah.
All right, as I've said, you gotta make me understand so everyone else can understand.
And the book should also have, language
That's
of
my-
more
that's my
simplistic.
Yeah, okay, fine, it just,
This will probably be Chris only, cause this has been.
This is
This is-
Yeah, this is,
At-
this will be
At
Chris.
town meeting, the planning board will speak on these articles. I think they even, at their public hearing, they went through what their, brief
yeah.
presentation's gonna look like.
Right,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Yep.
Will they, I assume they'll have access to the screen and be able to run that.
Yeah. You know, one thing that we pushed, we worked with the planning board was that instead of their recommendations being handed out for the first time as a separate handout at town meeting, that they be included in the book that everybody gets to their house, so.
Okay, yeah.
That'll be added in there this year. 22 is inns, 23 is ADUs. 24 is driveways. 25 is the town-owned land on Elm Street. Again, the copy of that, a map, will be an appendix in the back of the book. I did speak with Dave and Michelle right before she left. They did some analysis and he put it together in a letter for us. One of the questions that came up was, do we need to have an appraisal on this before?
Ask that again.
What they it's really hard to find comparable land, so, but he looked up some, as close as that he could get, and compared it to the abutter's property land value as well. It pretty much worked out to $1 a square foot.
Yeah.
So this is 920 square feet. If approved at town meeting, when we go through the procurement process, we have the right to require an appraisal to help us set what that minimum value amount is gonna be. But we have an assessed value.
What is the the cost of doing all this stuff? The legal cost in
We
selling
can
them off?
include that in the procurement process,
Okay,
yeah,
but that has to be in there.
yeah.
The legal costs are probably more than what the.
Right,
I
more
know.
than what that's what I'm worried
It's a
about.
strip of land is.
Yeah. So we can include that. I've done that in another town. We had the buyer basically pay all costs associated with the transfer of the property.
Yeah, that needs to be part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have your citizens petitions.
Just a question, do we know the rationale for Article 27? I'm presuming someone will speak to it, but I'm curious as to the rationale.
As the representative of the ZBA, Sarah?
So, 115 School Street is a property that the Affordable Housing Trust attempted to acquire. And the abutter acquired it, and he's interested in annexing the swimming pool to his property. He does not, he wants to subdivide the property, he does not have adequate frontage to do that in District A.
So it's the difference, because the difference between A and B is the frontage and the
frontage
parameters
and the lot size.
lot sizes, okay.
And this would be something the ZBA would not support.
Is this, so all 4 of these lots are owned by a single
No,
party?
he
Okay.
got together with 3 of his neighbors to create
All right.
a zone.
Would there be a comment from the zoning board on recommend, not recommend this particular, because it's in the zoning board's area,
The planning board.
or planning
The
board?
planning board, I
The
believe,
I heard the planning board recommended it.
Right,
I'm
Oh, okay.
prepared,
Well, I think we need somebody from that area.
I'm certainly prepared to stand up as a resident
Okay,
and speak to it, because in my opinion, this is spot zoning. And.
Yeah, I was looking at the map where
Yeah.
the A and the B
So
zones
I
are, and I
can-
just couldn't figure
It's
out
like
what
across
they
the
were
street.
trying
I
to
could contact 3
Yeah.
of my neighbors and say, okay, let's go into general district and get out of District A and bring it before town meeting, and it just seems like not a very efficient way to do zoning.
Have we had a legal opinion on this?
not technically,
It didn't seem like they were connected, there's like,
the current zone.
yeah, like,
they're not, it'll
It-
be
it
it'll
looked
be
like
like
a
an
little, like a
island
little
out
blob in the middle
nowhere.
of School Street,
I think
like a
that's the
completely
term,
different zone.
spot
I just
zoning.
want, my eyes aren't that great, so I just wanted to make sure I was
Yes.
interpreting,
looked like it was across the street.
okay.
It's the corner from Pleasant,
Yeah, all the way up to the golf course,
Right, on
Well,
the right as you're
yeah.
going out of town.
right on the right.
Yeah.
And that right now is in what, B?
A.
A.
That's in
It's in
A,
A.
and B is across the street. They just like, and B, I think they want to kind of draw that across the street to cover their.
Gerrymandering, but okay. Okay. All right, I better understand, I didn't mean to get us
They
down a
did,
rabbit hole.
they did send some additional mapping to the planning board for their hearing. And that was a little better, so we incorporated that as an appendix in the FinCom book.
Yeah, he's trying to create a lot in the back and front.
But I
Separate and
believe
sell
legal will be present at the meeting, at the town meeting, and they'll provide an opinion.
them. And it butts the cemetery in the back.
So the neighbors
Right,
won't
yeah.
complain.
Cemetery?
I'm trying to picture that,
Isn't
Rosedale Extension.
trying to picture that.
isn't there one more property there?
Yeah.
There's one property in between that and the cemetery.
This does not include the one on the corner
Yeah,
of
so all buts, the
Pleasant
next,
Street.
the next four.
That's not included here.
They can.
Right, but that property goes all the way back, and
Yeah.
then, there's one more property out
Signed and-
back
No.
before you get to the cemetery.
No, this is the yellow house. 115 is the yellow house, and it goes all the way back to the shed at the
There's a
cemetery.
circular driveway in the front,
Yes,
Pretty
it's
deep.
the second house
yeah,
on School Street beyond Pleasant.
and then there's another house way back there.
Here it is, Jeff.
And
Right,
there are apartments back there. There's a building and,
Yeah, I used to deliver
Right.
it.
So it's this green L-shaped parcel.
Oh, okay, it's beyond where I thought, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that first lot,
I believe
Back
this
further.
is the citizen proposing, I believe owns this property
The L
here.
shape, oh yes, the second one in. on
And
West.
just purchased this green L.
right, I
Yeah.
saw that,
And
but I thought,
The idea is to extend into this area and subdivide of some sort, creating frontage. There's a better illustration of it that was submitted to the planning board.
I would,
so the planning board's approved, but the ZBA is not.
ZBA doesn't,
That was-
Weigh in on this. but-
Doesn't
Wait.
weigh
So
in
you will,
at
you will
all.
speak as a private citizen,
correct.
Okay.
it makes sense.
Okay.
All right, move on.
Oh, before we move on, I would rather have an opinion from legal, just at least so she's prepared to speak on this. I'd rather have it
Yes,
sooner rather than at, we'll check on that at town meeting.
I just mean, she hasn't formally written up an opinion, but we had a discussion about it. As far as including it on the warrant, we don't, it met the requirements, and we
Yes,
have to include
Right.
it. But yeah, she's aware of it and will be prepared to speak on it. If you want me to have her write something up, and
I just, what I'd like to know is whether she considers this spot zone. Whether it's spot zone for her.
okay. All right. And then 29 is the standard last article that we have there to use if necessary. And then you get into the election warrant, which lists the positions that are available for election. And then, we also talked about the ballot questions at the Finance Committee meeting. We have a unique bylaw in Manchester from 1991, it's chapter 270, that requires any appropriation over $1 million, whether it's debt exclusion, capital exclusion or not, to go to the ballot for approval.
Mhm.
In that financial management audit from 2012, they recommended eliminating it or making changes to it. I think we will have more discussion about it maybe for next year, but it presents this confusion when you have to have two ballot questions for the same effort. So I wonder if it's something worth considering to maybe amend that bylaw, that if you have to go to the ballot because you're proposing a capital exclusion or debt exclusion, that you don't also have to vote on the effort, because of the bylaws.
Keeping it
So
simple
could
sounds
it
like a
win
good idea.
at a town meeting and lose at the ballot?
Well,
Well,
that
not
might
only
happen
that-
That's always
anyway.
the case.
Yeah.
Not only that, it could, your Prop 2.5 question could win at the ballot, but your bylaw question could lose.
So you have two different questions for the same thing on the same
Yeah.
ballot.
Yeah.
One could win and
Yeah.
one could lose.
What
Or
if that was illegal?
people could be confused and
Right.
think that we're asking them for twice the
So
amount
this
of
is
money.
something that we would need to do in the fall town meeting. So.
Yeah.
Let
But I
us-
just wanted to explain why you're seeing two ballot questions for PFAS and two
Two for everything.
two for everything but the capital exclusion, because it's only
It's under
$250,000,
a
doesn't meet that
Mhm.
threshold.
They won't understand that.
This is gonna be, take it 2 days.
So lucky.
Yeah.
Jeff,
right.
that's where you wanna bring the cooler.
I agree, it's very confusing.
You can make that up.
Okay. So then this is the,
So can we do the motion on
Yes.
number 2 there?
Yes, we can. I think that's me. I move that the board approve and sign the annual town meeting warrant for April 27th, 2026, and the annual town election warrant for May 19th, 2026, and be transmitted to the town clerk forthwith.
Second.
Any further discussion? John,
Yes.
Ann says yes,
Yes,
Kathy says yes,
He
Brian
says yes,
and Jeff.
you're irrelevant.
Yes.
This is 4/5.
For ballot questions, it requires 4/5 of
what I
the
said,
select
yeah,
board
yeah.
Right.
to approve that it gets onto the warrant.
So if we ever
But
had
we were
vacancy-
unanimous, so it counts.
All right, 4/5, is that town, or is, in other words, you have to have 2/3 vote, you just do the math here or something, I don't know. Or 3/4, 75%. 4/5 is 80%, I don't think the loss is 80%, I think.
I don't know,
Three-quarters.
but
Strange.
Michelle said, make sure you get at least 4 votes to,
Okay.
to get those questions on the ballot.
Folks are all-
Okay,
So now, if you can turn to the other document that has the the explanations and the recommendations, this is where we'll record the select board's recommendation.
I would like to do these one at a time, just because it's.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve Article 1?
So moved.
second,
John,
Yes.
Ann, Kathy,
yes.
Brian,
Yep.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Article two.
So this is what we're recommending approval, correct?
We're recommending approval. And the next is to fix the salaries at 0. I move that we recommend Article 2.
Second.
John?
Yeah.
And yes, Kathy?
Yes,
Brian?
All right.
Jeff?
Yes.
Article 3.
You are obviously independently wealthy.
These are prior year bills, were required to be voted on at town meeting. This does require a 4/5 vote on town meeting floor.
Oh.
Approval.
Uh,
And Proformance is actually the AV company that we use for town meeting.
Mhm.
Hadn't sent us invoices for the last 2 town meetings.
well, next time we sign a contract with them, et cetera, perhaps we should have a cutoff date. And if they don't submit it by the required timeframe, they don't get paid, period.
I don't know if that's legal.
We
But
should
we
ask.
did give him a cutoff date that if he didn't give us the invoices, he'd have to wait another year.
Yeah, we should ask about that. All right, I move to recommend that the select board, I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 3.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Ann says yes, Kathy?
Yes,
Brian?
Yes.
And Jeff?
Yes.
And it is 4/5, it's an 80%,
At town meeting for a
heard
prior year
80%
bill.
before.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Article 4, which is operating budget. Is there?
so before we
Okay.
recommend approval on this, I just had a question, because I did watch the last FinCom meeting recording, and there was a question as to how, what is the increase in our operating budget? Sarah, did you get an answer from,
Yeah, so, I looked at it, there's 11% increase in the town operating budget. And it's impacted by health insurance, which is up 15%. Legal expenses, 35%. State pension retirement plan contribution, 11.44%. And the new trash collection contract, 73.44%.
Ooh.
Plus snow removal and fully pre-funding the OPEB unfunded liability and then the additional staff. And I've put this wording in the report. I went on to say the increase in the operating budget is being funded within the constraints of Prop 2.5 due to a decrease in the amount of taxation used to fund capital projects, increased revenue estimates due to increased fees for trash bags, building permits, additional ambulance transports with a second ambulance, and an increase in education of less than 2.5% as the fiscal year 26 appropriation for the regional school district exceeded the final assessment. So the school district is saying our assessment increased 3.33%, but for budget purposes, it's under 2.5 because they decreased our assessment after we went to town meeting last year.
So let me ask a slightly different question. The 11% increase
Mhm.
is not entirely funded by taxation.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is, okay, so I thought you said,
No, operating budget has to be taxation.
okay, so this is,
Some of it is fees.
I thought it was fees.
Some of it is fees.
Fees.
Oh,
That's what
I'm sorry.
Yes,
All, in the book, I'm also including the tax, how you calculate the tax. And so we come up with the operating budget, plus we have some tax, we have funding for capital. And you take that total amount, and then from that, you're gonna subtract all the state reimbursements you received, all of the estimated local revenue, and any grants that apply. And then that's when you get down to the actual amount that we're taxing the residents.
that's what my point is, that the budget may be increased by 11%, but we're not paying for that with new taxation of 11% because there's other funding sources that
Right.
contribute to that.
Yeah, and
Right.
the
Yeah,
other explanation I added to I've added a section on the tax rate calculation, and I added a paragraph to that to helpfully.
Okay.
And that I said, the estimated tax rate increase for fiscal year 27 includes the entire levy limit, and I explained what that was, and excess levy capacity, and I explained that, but the tax increase is only 2%.
Right. Okay.
Due to a decrease in the cash capital exclusion being requested. And I said, without that decrease, the estimated tax rate increase would have been 3.1%.
So I just wanted, because, you see an 11% increase in an
Right.
operating budget, my vote would be no, okay? But it's not all being funded by taxation, it's being funded by other things.
Right,
And that's important to clarify that, because anybody who sees that is like,
yeah, because I added a new section this year to go through the tax rate calculation so people could see,
Yeah, that's good that people can see this.
Under the funding sources summary, general fees like excise taxes and that sort of thing, that's not in that grid there. You got taxation overlay, mooring fees, launch fees.
no, but that's under the Article 4,
Yeah,
these items at the bottom.
yeah,
The town residents have to appropriate money out of those funds.
Right.
okay, all right. Whereas the other one,
Because
that's a
they're
separate,
town funds, whereas the other
that's a separate
is by
financial.
operation of law that you
Yeah.
automatically reduce your revenue, outside revenue first.
Okay,
And the tax rate calculation says that the net appropriation to be raised from taxes is the total town meeting appropriations less state aid, local estimated revenue, and I list out beach tags, trash bags, et cetera, all the ambulance, water and sewer. And less available funds used, and fund balance reserves, and harbor and wetlands and grants. And then I said, plus, we add in previous debt exclusions and the cash capital exclusion. So that's how they calculate, and then they divide that net amount by the assessed value to come up with the tax rate.
And again, what was the overall tax increase rate, I'm sorry,
2%.
2%.
The last year's cash capital exclusion was 660,000, and this year it's 250. And that was by design.
Right.
Because the intention was to decrease the
It's what we keep. in the
cash
reserve.
exclusion as we increase long-term debt.
Okay.
So I expect next year we won't have a capital cash exclusion because our long-term debt repayments will start kicking in. And in the booklet, probably haven't seen.
I haven't
no.
seen.
In the booklet, I also list each of those large capital projects and tell them when we expect the long-term debt to kick in, which fiscal year.
Right.
because it's spread out over a number of years.
Yes, when we get to those items, I have some questions on those. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, let's see. This is what article is this?
4.
Article 4, I move that the select board recommend Article 4.
Second.
Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Ann says yes.
John, yes.
Article 5, are there any questions?
I will move to, I will move that the select board recommend approval of Article 5.
Second. Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Ann says yes.
John, yes.
Article 6. This is taking money from the recreation revolving fund and using it for a senior community center design.
So this is the movement of money, it's not asking people
It's
for
not-
more money.
It's
Yeah.
not
Just
taxation.
taking-
It's not taxation at all, because
One
it was
property.
collected from fees.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the revolving fund has that much surplus
Right,
over what it
800,000 or whatever, something like that.
And actually, this says, okay, senior / community center, because it changed its mission
Right.
so that this
I-
fit
I-
it into that
I do
finance.
agree
layer.
with Brian, though, I really don't like the wording, I know we just approved it, but it just gives the impression we're taxing people, even though, whoever introduces this needs to explain that the money was collected by fees, this is not taxation, this is,
The word shouldn't be in there, it should be appropriate.
Move.
It all,
We'll just move the money.
Yeah, we're just moving money.
Okay, we always say vote to raise and appropriate or transfer.
Yeah, that's,
Transfer.
Transfer is.
Maybe
what
just
we're
transfer,
Yeah.
but
doing.
I think that's just the language.
That's just the
Yeah.
language. And we will make it clear that it's a transfer.
And so you know, the finance committee is voting on town meeting floor.
yes, this is dependent upon what happens in the next.
I was gonna recommend this select board do the same thing, we don't own this property yet, so. We make sure we do, and then we can make our recommendation at town meeting, but we don't
I
own the
think
property
that's,
yet.
I think that's the way to go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, it made a lot of sense, you know, the finance committee's position on that, and, we'll provide an update come
Keeps
town
us
meeting.
all moving forward toward a very specific deadline.
Yeah.
And the other thing I plan to do is at our April 16th meeting is to find out how the FinCom will vote if in fact we own it, because that piece of information I do not yet have.
Right.
And I'd rather have that in advance of town meeting than
Right.
5 minutes before town meeting
Yeah.
starts.
Right.
If I have to speak to it.
Agreed.
But this is just another opportunity, I think, to explain, this is what's been going on, and this is why there's a recommendation, and there's not something there, because there's been a lot going on in the last couple of weeks, or month.
2 years, 3 years,
No.
however you wanna say it. Okay, so
Nothing
I would,
happens till you have a deadline.
I move that the select board make our recommendation at the annual town meeting.
second,
John,
Yes,
and yes, Kathy,
yes,
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. The next is the North Shore Agricultural and Technical School.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 7.
Second.
Of course you did.
Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Ann says yes.
John, yes.
I'll be hiding under the table next
But
year.
she's,
Okay.
It's a decrease from last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
till
you were-
next year.
Fewer kids, not
No,
gonna,
same number of kids.
Well,
Does
it's
that
not, it is and it isn't, because we had 2 waitlisted come in after the cutoff.
Ah,
so that's
So
next
you,
year's.
you actually have more, but you'll get,
Gonna hit us next year?
that's gonna hit next year.
All right.
That's next year's pro.
So usually for this Article 8, there's 3 motions. One to approve the agreement, one to approve our portion of the operational budget, and one to approve our portion of the long and short-term debt. So as you can see here, the Finance Committee recommended approval of all 3, and we wrote that out.
Okay.
Usually there's a handout, another handout at town meeting with those 3 motions. And by putting it in here in the recommendation, we won't have to do that handout, we can just put the motions on the screen.
I see 3 recommends here.
And you can't put these together, huh? These have to be separate.
Different colors of money.
It's just like the town has to
Is,
authorize its operating such, separate from its
It's
capital.
capital.
is this gonna be 3 votes on the floor?
Yes.
Who's right, Jeff?
I'm sure you did. I'm sure if there was a way, you would have done it.
I think we can just recommend approval and.
Yeah.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 8.
Second.
John?
Yes.
And yes, Kathy?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Jeff?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. OPEB. Is there any question on,
I think we understand what and why.
okay,
I recommend approval for Article 9.
second? Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Ann says yes.
John,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Okay, this is revolving funds, and I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 10.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Ann, yes, Kathy?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Article 11. $16,500,000 for PFAS.
So this language includes the required language for us to borrow it on our own or to borrow it through SRF. We're gonna have bids come in 2 weeks prior to town meeting. We set up the procurement to give us a price for the project to go through SRF and a price to do the project borrowed on our own. SRF has a lower interest offer, but the requirements of the program sometimes adds cost, upfront costs. So we wanna see both those numbers and then, but the language here will authorize us to take either path.
So if we think there's gonna be some debt forgiveness, we can go.
Yeah,
away with
it's
it.
possible that there could be debt forgiveness through SRF, but I don't know if we can, how much we can factor that into our analysis, cause it's really an unknown. And
When do we
I don't have a-
when do we have to when do we have to comply with this?
with if we wanna do the SRF program, there is a schedule as far as, certain percentages of progress, you have to have it 90% complete by a certain time, and I can get you the schedule on that.
I'm just interested to.
Now you say schedule for this to be built. for operation.
If we go through the SRF program,
Oh.
once you initiate that process, the contract language with DEP does specify a certain time and schedule as to when you have to accomplish, certain percentages of progress. I can get you that.
Yeah,
Schedule
I mean,
it.
no rush, but if you're running
Yeah.
close.
And if you're on your own, it's EPA driven, I guess, or something, I don't know.
So,
We're way out, I think we're way out ahead of what the.
We're ahead like by, I don't know, 6, 7 years or something.
No.
2033, I
Yeah.
think they bumped it back to
They
2033.
pushed it ahead like 2 or 3 years.
so that's part of I didn't wanna mess around with the wording, because I know obviously people worked really hard on it here, but I think we are giving the residents the impression that this is just about PFAS, and it's not. It's also to improve our water quality, the minerals, the pink water, or the pink rings around your white tile or whatever, because it's so full of, what is it, magnesium or iron or whatever. It's improving the water quality as well. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Because to what you were saying, people are asking, why do we need to do this now? Because we've been given more time, right? But it's not just about the PFAS, it's about getting rid of all of that other stuff in the water. And hopefully people who have, whole house filters or whatever can change their filters less often or get rid of those systems because the water itself will be higher quality. So that's an aspect we don't really talk about.
But I think some of what I hear out there is if we wait, is there a chance we'll get?
Oh, I'm not suggesting we wait, I'm suggesting we talk about it differently.
I know, but people are saying, hey, if we wait, this is early, is there a chance we're gonna get more help down the road with this from the state or whoever?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
I mean, I've heard that from a lot of
To
people.
jump on that, we're asking for an awful lot in capital,
Right.
front.
The people,
Well-
If we
those
could
questions
kick
are
this-
gonna be out there, spending this amount of money.
Kick it down the road another year.
Well, we got Article 11, 12, 13. I did the math, wait a minute. I don't know if my math was right. But from Article 11 through Article 15, if you have $1 million house, in fiscal year 27, it adds about $178 to your bill. But in fiscal year 29 and beyond, it's about $500.
Right.
Okay, Tony's nodding,
Yeah,
I did my math.
That's the
Okay.
grid.
some
That's just
assumptions
the
there,
stuff
yeah.
on this warrant.
Yep.
So that's, in a couple of years, $500 extra if you're, which is the median or, average assessment.
But
And-
I wanna add something, okay? So the Lincoln Street Treatment Plant, PFAS, is not expected to hit the tax rate until fiscal year 29. So therefore, any state reimbursement, grants, litigation settlements you get in before that would reduce the ultimate amount of the bond. And that's the true with all
All
of
of
these
these.
projects.
Right, and I remember you talking at the FinCom, that we
Right.
should, when
gotta
we
be
get
made
the
clear.
grants in, we should go back to town meeting and reduce, I can't remember, right, but
No,
reduce
not
the
till we finish building.
reduce the appropriation at the appropriate time, right?
Right.
So that there's no extra money hanging around being held up that could be spent on, something else. So that's an important piece here.
Don't you just not borrow as much? You appropriate
Yes.
this?
Yes,
You don't have to do anything, you just stay. If the
No,
project is
so the
$2 million
reason-
less, you don't borrow.
The reason for the appropriation is usually a high number.
Yeah,
So you can go out to bid because the bid can't exceed that amount without going back to town meeting.
understood.
But then when you get to the actual bond issuance,
it's usually lower.
if the town has appropriated 16.5 million and you only need 10 million, that's 6.5 million that the town could use in a subsequent related project without additional town meeting approval. So the feeling is once you get to actually issuing the bond, you go back to town meeting and rescind that excess appropriation,
So the
just to clean it up.
The 16.5 is on the books, even if you're not gonna draw it down. And maybe that affects our bond rating because we're leveraged more, I don't
No, it
know.
won't, but still.
Just because it's on the books, from a cash flow perspective, doesn't make any difference.
No, right.
But-
The authority is on the book.
Yes.
Yeah, the authority
The-
and somebody who wants to, build something, if you wanna build something else, that's.
Well, you could theoretically, I suppose, use it for Gravelly Pond, because that's probably related close enough that,
Yeah,
without town approval.
that is correct,
And so therefore, if you clean it up, you can't do
because
that.
that's coming.
right, but,
Even Gravelly Pond, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt.
go ahead, yeah.
Even Gravelly Pond, where this references Lincoln Street well, I think we would have to go back to town meeting and get the okay.
Well, it says including but not limited to.
Yeah.
It
It's
says,
a legal, council will weigh in on whether it
Yeah.
veers too far away from.
Yeah, I just think
Just to
that the
clean it
sheer
up.
number of capital on this warrant is scary.
Close to $30 million.
Is scary, and then we haven't even talked about DPW, police, fire, you know, what the senior
School.
center, we haven't even talked about that other stuff. So as I'm looking at this, I am uncomfortable with the sheer dollars that are here. And I'm wondering, I'm wondering what the team thinks here as to what we might be willing to put off. I heard at the last FinCom meeting, I think, Ann, you asked a question about Tappan Street. Is that something that, you know, has to be done right now? Or could we revisit it, you know, in the fall town meeting or next year? I just think this is too much.
I totally agree.
There's a big bite here, there's a lot of stuff here.
By the fall town meeting, we will know whether we're getting money for the culvert.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And at the fall town meeting,
we may get 5,000. It may cost us nothing.
I'm sorry, what?
The
5
culvert may
million.
cost us nothing.
God willing, yes.
Or at least we get something.
Right, so
But we need that money to go out to bid.
bid,
Yes.
that's the problem, and I think that's important to communicate as we're communicating to our residents about the warrant. We don't expect to spend this money in taxation, but we have to get your authorization to go out to bid and get a real estimate. That's a critical piece I don't think folks understand.
Let me ask a question about this PFAS. So if we build this, we say, yeah, we're doing this, we're building this thing, and we get to 90% or 100% complete, or say we get 100% complete. If grants become available for this, or money becomes available, are we still eligible for that if we've already finished it,
To offset,
to offset what we've spent?
depends on the grant program. I mean, the most, you know, as far as grant opportunities go for this, if the federal government were to, you know, appropriate funds to help municipalities comply with the EPA requirement, they're gonna do it by sending money down to the state for the SRF program. We do have the opportunity to seek funding assistance through the federal government by way of community project funding, which we actually did for the design of this, and we just submitted for the design of Gravelly. But that at most is $1.5 million. I don't wanna say never, but it's extremely, extremely unlikely that we're gonna get a $16 million grant, you know, for this.
Yeah, I get that part, but I mean, are we throwing away
But
3
we
or
also
4 or
have,
5 million?
we do have some of the litigation money that'll be spent first, you know, to use that towards this project before.
How much is that?
Oh, I'll have to.
I don't know. The fact is,
I wanna say it's not, I wanna say it's somewhere $800,000 to $1 million.
$1 million or under?
Yeah.
and Gravelly Pond is coming in behind this serially.
But it doesn't require a new treatment plant.
No, it doesn't. It'll be a
This is for a
lot
new
less.
building.
Yes.
Right.
And all of the stuff in that building to clean the water.
Yeah.
So I guess when I look at all of these and I'm uncomfortable with the dollars, personally, my biggest care about is that culvert. I understand, I hope we don't have to spend 5 million in taxation because we'll get a bunch of grants, but to me, that's the highest priority because it affects all of Cape Ann if that thing crumbles, okay?
But it shouldn't be all on us either.
No, but that's where the grants will come in. But as far as recommending that we, approve any of these articles, that's my number one, just because we have to go up to bid on, we've gotta get that moving. And if this is the only way to get that moving, then I would be uncomfortable delaying it, but if, that's kind of my.
I think when we go to town meeting, there's gonna be a lot of discussion on this. 10 different people will have 10 different priority orders here.
Mhm.
They will.
But
It'll be
not-
very, very hard
There will
to,
be like half a dozen on Bennett Street though. I mean, no, rather on Tappan.
on tap, yeah. Well, we know the backers are there.
You really
I'm sorry about that.
plan the odds there, huh?
It's gonna be tough. Now, just because you borrow the money, of course, we have to pay that back over time. And I guess from a grants perspective, they don't care. You borrow the money. I mean, that's still cash that we're laying out every month or every year or
Well,
whatever.
Andrea gave us the breakdown by year when the.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Kicking in and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good cash flow.
So I guess-
2030, we're gonna be pretty loaded up.
So I guess, let's ask a question, we're talking about Article 11 here. If we were to punt this till the fall, what are the ramifications for that? If we recommend we don't,
We can't go out to bid.
right,
I mean, right now, I believe they've ordered the arches, oh, no.
I'm not talking
That's
culvert,
the-
sorry, I'm talking the PFAS and the Lincoln Street well building.
Well, they've got quotes coming in the next 2 weeks.
I mean, 6 months isn't really saving you anything, I get that.
But it's culture shock here.
This is huge.
Yeah, I just, yeah, it's,
If we go in there and say, we recommend that everybody say yes to everything, I'm sorry, I can't agree, I can't go with this, this environment is too tough on people,
well, let me ask this.
You can take no
If-
position.
If this came up,
That's,
I just want to take it
No.
off the plate.
yeah,
Take it.
I think we gotta take a position.
if you push it to the fall, you're really in the same position though.
It's
You're
in
not, you're
this
not,
You're in
year's
the-
tax
But
rate.
we know more, wouldn't we know more?
Yeah, I know the school is lining up to do something then too.
Yeah, I don't think we wanna put a lot of money articles on the town meeting that has the school.
All right, so you,
right.
forget the fall, next year, okay? I'm
I
asking
don't-
which
I-
of these,
I don't think, especially with this project.
Yeah.
The concern, which is justified, is more about the tax impact of all these projects together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This project is ready to go. There really isn't something there there isn't really another reason why to not move forward with this project, other than the fact that
Cost a ton
it's
of money.
16, it's half of 30 that we're asking for. So it's,
That's Swampscott school system.
yeah, a little bit more.
so
But
then what about, I'm uncomfortable, I know we're gonna vote on these one at a time, but I kinda wanted to talk about these as a group
Mhm.
and see if there's anything that we would be willing to not recommend. Tappan Street is kind of at the top of my list right at this moment,
Tappan's been
But-
kicked how many times down there since before
but
2019?
again, I don't know which is worse,
Uh,
I think John Quick, I think they had the money appropriated back in 18 or 19, didn't they?
I think that the position of the finance committee was that we went through many years where we pushed back all of the water and sewer pipe restoration, and we kind of got on a good cycle.
Mhm.
And our position was, let the residents make the decision. Instead, and that's why we recommended all of them. We think there's enough projects coming down the line that kicking the can down the road isn't gonna help. And we kind of felt with the PFAS that people are concerned about the quality of the
Mhm.
water, so that was kind of a no-brainer, but it just seems like this, the Tappan Street would hit in fiscal year 28 and be 0.75% on the tax rate. It's not a huge number.
We have to talk about tax, but we can't talk about lump sums.
What?
I'm gonna boil it down to the lowest common denominator, and I'm looking at $30 million.
29.5.
That's worst case though, Brian.
I know, I understand
Yeah.
that, I understand that, but it's gonna be buyer's shock, because all of a sudden all these things, And maybe if we present it differently. I
So,
think
so
it's
another
important.
thing to your point, right? You go back to the ballot, okay, let's say all of this stuff gets approved at town meeting.
Yep.
You go to the ballot and somebody who didn't attend town meeting goes to vote and they see all this stuff, no, 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 right? If you throw too much at people all at once, you do risk, I think that's kind of what's happening in like Lexington right now, you know, you risk adding the straw that breaks the camel's back, and, you know, to your
As much
point.
as it bothers me to agree with you.
It's just, I'm afraid this is collectively the straw that could break the back, and I'm just wondering if there's something here that we would not.
I mean,
I think there are just so many different opinions, and I've spoken to people here, and I've got all different priorities.
Mhm.
I really do. And we're sitting around here trying to guess.
Sarah's point,
what
let the
people-
voters decide.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Sarah. It's very difficult sitting around this table saying what's most important.
And our debt service, I mean, our debts, our outstanding debt is decreasing about $1 million a year
Mhm.
over the next few years. So there is a steady decline.
Is there a way of someone speaking to that point? Before we even start talking about these questions,
My plan,
as to the financial health of the town.
yeah, my plan was to speak to these individual capital.
I think you need an
Items.
upfront thing
Yeah.
collectively, that at the end of the day, we've got to decide how much money we're gonna spend, but in total, right now it's 30. And Kathy's, the analysis most people make, $1 million property, that's an extra $500. People understand that. I don't care about the tax rate or anything else.
Right.
They understand
They
$500.
understand
Forget the tax rate,
Right.
that's just a,
And I was gonna do that calculation and explain it in the tax years in which it would hit.
yes, because it's not year one, it's year
Because
5 in, that's where you're
It's
at.
not year one.
Or year 2.
And the current budget, the fiscal year 27 budget, already includes 1 year of the 10-year dredging bond, because the assumption was made that we would incur that long-term bond would be issued in fiscal year 27.
Yeah.
So that's included in, so all of these repayments go into the debt service line in the budget.
Mhm.
Once they occur. So this year's budget is already including that dredging. And our taxes are increasing 2%. I mean, you know, so it's kind of misleading as to, and I think the other thing is, and I've spent this money about 20,000 times, but next year, because we're paying off the OPEB, we've got the 420 of not making the OPEB payment, the 450 of paying the retirees' insurance premiums from the OPEB trust, minus 100,000 we need to put into the trust to cover the future costs for active employees. So we're talking 750,000 of additional available tax
No,
revenue
we haven't.
next year.
We haven't negotiated, we got a lot of labor agreements to be
Well,
negotiated
still, I
too,
mean-
so.
We do, and we have,
So that's true, there'll be some of that, but
And
there
we're
won't
hoping
be.
CST will, yeah, but we're
CST
including
coming,
trash in this
CST,
budget, Tony, so that's already in the increase.
no, I know.
I mean, I'm talking about, you know, future increase, and we're hoping CST would eventually give us $500,000 a year. So I think this is our tightest budget year. And these long-term debt, other than the dredging, hit in either fiscal year 28 or 29, depending on when we complete projects.
I think what the scary part is though, is like you're looking at all this and then people are gonna be thinking about that school coming.
Right.
And then they're gonna be like, what's the path beyond that? What does that look like?
And so the school, we've talked to the school district about our preference to issue bond anticipation notes during the construction phase, which they did not do for Memorial, because the rates for short-term is better than long-term. And if that were to occur, the long-term bonds for the Essex School, where is it? It would probably hit in fiscal year 31 or 32.
Which is about when the high school falls off.
Right.
Right. So trying
But
to,
they're not gonna be, there's gonna be a big difference there
What?
between what you're paying on the high school, right? Between what you're paying on the high school now and what that is
Not
gonna
that big.
be.
Not really.
It would be within $10 million, maybe.
The bond, the people, the bond brokers or whoever did a schedule. I don't have it with me, and they were assuming a price on the school, this was based on estimates. And I don't believe the tax rate in Manchester for any year increase was gonna be more than 1%. So because it's spread out enough, it wasn't a huge impact. And they took into account the declining debt on the existing buildings. So and they were assuming an $80 million cost for the building. Assuming the state would pay a third and that would leave 54 million for the towns. Yeah.
And that's on the order of the high school.
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, but if it's only a 1% increase on the tax rate, that's a heck of a lot better than the thought of, 30
Is it-
million. I mean,
Right,
it's-
no, I get what
Are
you're
you
saying.
gonna comment all about the town debt versus total operating cost here and where we stand versus other communities? Because we have not run up tremendous amounts of debt here.
No,
Compared to, I don't think most other people know that, independent of what you're paying for your
well, and
property
the
tax.
the policy is that your debt service payments do not exceed 10%.
Okay, and I don't know what they are right now, and
Oh,
I don't
they're
know
not
I don't know what they
anywhere
are.
close
Yeah,
to
and I
that.
don't know what they are for other communities.
10% of your operating budget. Well, that's the standard that the auditors give us, so that would
Okay.
be standard, I mean,
I just think that maybe has to be part of the story here when people, maybe they've had it pretty good for a while, and I tend to think they have. I know that the taxes in this town in general are pretty reasonable, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, that's true, but people wanna keep it that way.
Well, that's true, but
It's true, but we don't exist in a vacuum. And when, again, it's the messaging, right? The operating budget is, 11% higher. All of this extra money we're asking from people. I don't know anybody got a 10% raise. Maybe you do, right? And so,
But the
and I'm
tax
just saying-
rate is only going up
I
2%.
understand. No, I understand. I'm just saying,
And just the fact that one piece is big doesn't mean that the whole thing is big.
no, but long-term debt, you're saying you're gonna spend this money for a
Yeah.
very long time. And I just think the core dollars matter.
again, you kick the can down the road. You're not spending it now.
I don't think
next year,
that, I think the
Following year.
5-year and 25-year capital plan has been talked about a lot.
Yeah.
And I know every resident and their familiarity with that information is different, it varies. But it hasn't been a secret that there's a
No.
lot of capital
Absolutely
needs
not.
in town.
Yeah.
And I do think that, the town, I know we've had this conversation, Kathy, but I do think the town, as far as the tax rate is concerned, has made an effort to try to, the way I put it, offset the growth in values over the last
Yeah, no, our tax rate is
5-6
fine.
years. And we're seeing the cost of these projects rise exponentially compared to our revenue. So I know it's a lot, and I know it's gonna take, and the education of it, the discussion about it is very important, but I think the reason all these are here today is because kicking any one of these down the road could have more of a financial impact later than they do.
And that's fine, as long as we're willing to maybe make some compromises on that other stuff we haven't talked
No,
about.
Well,
I'd say-
we did push out the DPW garage, cause that was
Yes.
originally on this year's budget.
Yeah.
And we pushed that down the road.
Right, yeah.
Because we see that not as
Critical.
a need as much as these other.
So a number of cans have already been kicked.
Nor is it ready.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not even ready.
I think that the big key here is how we package this and present it to people, because perception's reality. All right? And if they're just looking at line items and adding up like I just did, all right, there's gonna be some shock here. If laying this at your feet and Tony's feet is to be able to explain the realities is that, yes, we're voting, but you're not just, this is the impact, and like you say, show it out over the course of years. I would stop at 3 years instead of 5. Over the next 3 years. And it just, we have to get away from the concept of a big chunk of change and how it, but rather just spread it out and the impact and, like you say, you know, $100 for the first year for the average homeowner. And, you know, that's a bargain.
Yeah, I mean,
$30
it's
million
a
for
couple
$100
couple $100, you know, maybe the first year, that's fine. But when you start getting into those $500
Yeah, but let's
stuff,
look at it.
but that $500 a year doesn't include all the other stuff, like, you know, the police
Plus the
station
2.5,
and
or
the
2.5, or
school
whatever
and
the
everything
operation.
else. That's
And
when,
let's bear in
so
mind
that's all I'm
that-
talking about here is, if it was just this stuff,
But $500 in 5 years might be might be dust.
but
The
then there's a
value
lot
of
about, so we
$500.
might have to make some compromises on some things we said we wanted for some of those other facilities, okay? And
That we've already kicked
because
out
if
of, off
we're
the
gonna
list.
do all this now,
We've already kicked off
we
this
might not
list.
be able to do some of that other stuff, and we have to be prepared to have that discussion.
Yeah, I think that what Chuck Dam told us with respect to large street reconstruction, doing water and sewer, is we've got the Tappan, we've got the Bennett, and we've got Summer.
But summer is huge.
Yeah, but they would do it in pieces.
Okay, summer, and summer.
Right.
Right.
And I think those are the ones
Yes, that's what you communicated to me.
remaining.
Yeah.
So it's not an endless list.
No, I'm more worried about the big buildings that we haven't talked about yet.
Right.
Right, so,
And our, be honest, finance committee's concern is that senior community center,
Mhm.
because that was
I agree.
not on.
it's not on our radar, it's not on our plan,
Right.
yeah.
Well, so the finance committee has really looked at this and said, let's see what the taxpayers say.
Yeah, we feel
Recommend
the town
everything,
can afford it.
And that discussion will be had, and there'll be votes, and, you know, I really cannot predict how this is going, but I will predict that there's, at least one of these items is not gonna make the cut.
I don't know.
I think that one of them will. I don't know which one.
We need to make the dredging, we have a problem with permits running out, I think.
Yeah, well, that all has to be communicated.
Well, and I think the other thing that was communicated to us is it made sense to package the ones
Mhm.
on the harbor together.
Understood.
Because the deployment costs are so high that you might get a better contract price if you've got more items involved.
Is there a handout that kind of describes that? Because that information for each one of these projects that has permit issues or efficiency issues, that's not in the booklet, is it?
No, it's not in the book.
I mean, there's something, you really got to look at all of these together. You can't just say, oh, what do you think about this one? What do you think about this? You really have to look and say, what's
Right,
going
there's-
on?
There is a lot behind all these.
Yeah, yeah.
Each and every one.
And the order here is really, I don't know if there was a method to the madness here, but it doesn't make any difference. You really have to look at them all and assess it.
My feeling is that the ones earlier will pass.
Then people say, absolutely, what's the
And
total now?
then
What's the
they'll
total?
get to the Tappan Street and say, maybe not. but Tappan Street is the one that we can push off without putting capital items in jeopardy. So, that's,
Um,
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that we can push it off.
Mhm.
The longer you push it off, you know,
the more expensive it gets and.
more expensive
Yeah.
and you
We
risk,
should-
and you risk a potential, you know, break that you have to,
Yeah.
that you end up paying more for less and,
And, yeah, and.
but I understand the point you're making is if you had to,
If you had to give up one, but I think, I would recommend all of these.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, I'm just, at the end of the day, the people are gonna vote, and
Yeah, they are.
that's all there is to it.
And there's also the regulatory regulatory consideration for each one of these. I don't know, like dredging, is there a requirement for that? I mean, PFAS there is. You
Problem
know,
with
all of these
dredging,
have,
problem with dredging too is though, right now you can dump, they're allowing you to dump offshore. If that changes, that dredging number is gonna cost you a whole lot
okay,
more.
so maybe there's a handout that has to provide pieces of information.
So I think what we're saying, Tony, is I know you have some plans to communicate, you know, with the residents. I like the articles in the Cricket, it's not enough, not everybody reads the Cricket, you know, God forbid, you know, I know we think it's the town Bible, but not
Same
everybody
here,
reads it, so there's a whole host of nuances here that just are not getting to people.
Do you have any suggestions of other means of communication?
Well, I mean, you can hold a forum and once people see this, you know, maybe they'd be willing to dial into a Zoom meeting so you can explain some of this, but I think more of a presentation format outlining some of the restrictions we're under, you know, the reason we're doing article blah blah is because the permits are gonna expire, you know, some just
Yeah.
really short bullet points. I think the finance committee always does a nice job with a long narrative of detailed explanation, but there's a lot here, and people don't have necessarily the time, so I think presentation style, bullet points, key considerations, something of that nature, because otherwise, people are just gonna get that booklet in the mail and see that price tag and,
I do have bullet points
Yeah.
under each capital project. I did do bullets. I did bullets.
excellent. No, what I'm talking about is the nuances here about, you know, these permits are gonna expire and,
yeah.
and that type of,
that's booked
Yeah.
for the 7th and the 14th.
Okay,
I'm also speaking at the Manchester Club and I'm speaking at the Council on Aging luncheon and
right,
You have a full
This-
socials page.
yeah.
there you
I
go,
do.
excellent, okay.
Dan's card is
But
full.
that, you know, it's kind of purposeful because, had I done it 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
no one
do
would
it.
have, you know, so, especially as the book gets to people's doorsteps.
Yeah.
And I've already noticed, you know, there's a pickup of communication occurring in the last few days. So, it's coming,
Are you gonna have an article that will kind of pull all of these together in terms of
yeah.
compare A, B? Because if you put A in week 1 and then you put B in week 2 and C, they won't remember what you said
Yeah.
in A. You've gotta
Exactly, yeah,
You've
so
already
it's a
explained
wrap-up
what-
put
article.
this together.
What's going to happen in individual pieces.
Yeah.
So the follow-on communication is how do these pieces.
How do they all
fit
fit together or not fit
And what's it
together?
gonna cost the average homeowner on their bill this year and in future years?
Right.
Put the dollars in there, because the rate is one data point, but
That's what we did that in each individual article, but what you're referring to is like a wrap-up article, and
Yeah.
that's
That
planned
is the most
for,
important article.
that's planned for not the next edition, but I think the following.
Okay.
I think we have,
Repeat this.
this horse is dead.
Died of old age.
So, I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 11.
Second.
We're only on 11?
The next ones will go fairly quickly, I hope. It's moved and seconded, Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
yes,
and yes.
John, yes.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 12.
Second.
John,
Yes.
Ann says yes, Kathy,
yes,
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
Article 13. I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 13.
Second,
Jeff,
yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Anne says yes, John.
John, yes.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 14.
Second,
John,
yes.
and yes, Kathy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 15.
Second,
Jeff,
yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Anne says yes,
John, yes.
John. So that's the capital stuff.
And we're supposed to get through all of that on a Monday.
Yeah,
Poor Eli.
Poor Eli.
We also do have
okay, we
a
have,
member of finance committee who will be speaking against some of these capital.
Yes.
mhm.
List of suspects.
I think it's the usual.
Okay, snow and ice. I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 16.
Second,
John,
Yes.
and yes, Kathy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes.
okay.
And do you understand why we're doing this?
The snow and ice?
Yeah, you can deficit spend it, but if you deficit spend it, they also put a hold on that amount from the
So if you just pay
fund
out
balance,
free
so if you just
cash.
pay it from the fund.
Right.
It's coming from there eventually.
Yeah,
anyway.
you're paying for it one way or the other, but they let you pay.
Okay,
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 17.
Second,
John,
What is that?
17
Water
Oh, okay, I
meter,
know what it
water
is water
meters.
meters.
Okay,
The old
yes,
water meters.
yes, the water meters. I know all about the water meters.
Anne says yes, Kathy.
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Jeff.
yes, yes. Library.
This capital, the ADA bathrooms.
Yes. I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 18.
Second,
Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Anne says yes,
John, yes.
okay.
19, you already did.
19 we've already done.
Did we?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
CPC, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Okay,
Oh, this is now the,
Oh, the zoning articles.
this is the planning board initiative.
So the planning board, I forgot, do we usually recommend zoning articles? I think we do.
I think we do,
Yeah.
FinCom doesn't.
yeah, bunch
Okay.
of weasels.
We have one.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 20.
Second,
Jeff,
yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Anne says yes,
John, yes.
Senior housing, I recommend that the select board recommend approval. I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 21.
Second,
John,
yes.
and yes, Kathy.
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 22.
Second,
Jeff,
yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kathy, Anne says yes,
John, yes.
I move that the select board recommend approval of Article 23, the accessory dwelling units.
Second.
Anne says yes, Kathy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Driveway
Right.
curb cuts, okay, I recommend that I move that the select board recommend Article 24.
Second. John.
Yes.
Anne says yes,
Jennifer says yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
Okay,
Street.
Okay. This is
Oh, this
Elm
is the land
Street.
swap
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a swap.
It's not
I
a
mean,
sale,
the
it's an
purchase.
acquisition.
Acquisition, yes,
It's a sale.
sale.
Right, and the planning board is talking to this.
No,
No, this came before us because
no,
it's
this
just
is
a
our,
land sale.
this is.
Oh, 'cause it's just a land sale, we're selling some land.
Yeah.
Pull out my Domsky's feet.
We're retaining access rights,
Right.
easement rights for maintenance
Right.
of the wall on the
But it
brook.
doesn't affect zoning or anything else at all. Okay,
Well, I don't know if it affects as far as like, their frontage or total square foot, you know, I'm not
It's-
sure what the
it's-
impact is on that, but.
It's increasing the square footage, which is usually good, and it's not frontage,
right.
because it's not our road.
It increases his permeability.
All right, I move
Yeah.
the select board approve Article 25.
I'll second,
John,
yes.
Anne says yes, Kathy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
So in Article 26, this is the first citizens position.
Yep.
Vote to establish a study. Personally, I recommend that the select board take no position. I don't know why we need to.
We don't usually take positions on.
Well, on one of these we may want to, but,
Yeah.
but I don't feel the need.
No, I
to-
don't think we,
No.
we'll
So
see
this
what.
one is actually, we have a vested interest, don't we? As
That
elect-
could be a conflict of interest. That's a really good point. I was just thinking it's, you know.
I think the only thing here is that our bylaws have committees, they're select board committees actually, so I think we anticipate there's gonna be a floor amendment to the language on this because it wasn't specific about who's creating the study committee, who's appointing, what's the term length, what's the, right, the charter of the committee. So we expect a floor amendment from the petitioner.
Another reason not to take a position
Yeah.
on this. So I move that the select board take no position on Article 26.
Second,
Jeff,
Yes.
Brian, Kathy,
Yes.
Anne says no,
yes.
John says yes.
So the Article 27
Seven,
is
that's the one we spoke about.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with this one, but. You're saying the planning board is gonna take a position, or they did take a
They
position?
voted to
Yeah,
recommend,
they voted to recommend.
recommend approval.
I think this planning board purview, why do we have to even take a position?
Yeah. It really is
Yeah,
not in
I
our swim lane.
I move the select board take no position.
Yeah,
Second.
John,
I agree. Short discussion on that.
Anne says yes,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
Article
Okay.
28, I don't wanna touch this with a 10-foot pole, so I would.
20-foot pole,
I would recommend that I move that the select board take no position on Article
Second.
28.
Jeff,
I'm gonna abstain. I don't, yeah, yes,
taking no position is okay.
right.
yeah.
You're not in favor of the Constitution?
I'm not in favor of it, but I'm wondering if we
If it's
should
inflammatory,
we
it's
should
divisive, I don't even, you know, so I
take a
don't.
position that,
If we take a position, I'm gonna vote against it, so let's, no position.
take a position that we're against it.
And personally, I think this is a vote of conscience, and I don't wanna tell people how to.
Yeah, no, it's ideological, and we deal more with kind of process and how to get things done. This is not
I mean,
our
it's just, it's,
purview at all.
again, like I say, it's inflammatory, it's divisive.
So,
I,
no position would be good enough?
I will accept that, or if we go to a real vote, then I'll vote
Okay.
my conscience.
Now, I don't know how Eli's gonna handle that, because it's put on here, and at some point it comes to a vote. I'm sure there will be some floor discussion.
Whoever brought it forward, I would think.
Well, we'll say, yeah.
It's up to
Speak on
them.
it, and
So,
I don't feel the need for us to take a position
No.
on it personally.
Okay,
I
that's
just-
fine.
I'll accept it, that's my compromise.
All right, so I move that the select board take no position on Article 28.
Second.
John,
yes.
Anne says yes, Kathy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
And Article 29, we've already decided to make our recommendation on town meeting floor. See, it was quick.
But once we stop talking.
We stop talking about money.
Yeah, money was a big deal. Thank you
As
for
it
being
should
here
be.
for that, Sarah.
Thank you very
As it
much.
should be, thank you, Sarah.
Now I have to figure out what I take at town meeting.
Did you learn anything from me?
Well, you got a whole month to figure it out, so.
Yeah, you've got 4 weeks.
Yeah,
It's less, is it?
it's about 4 weeks, a little less.
Yeah.
No,
28 days.
4 weeks.
4 weeks,
4
there you
weeks.
go.
Hey, we all doing good on arithmetic. Thank you again, Sarah.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay. I move that the select board enter into executive session pursuant to general laws, chapter 30A, section 21A6, to consider purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate property at Masonic Hall, 10 Church Street, if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body and not to return to open session. And I do so declare.
Second.
Jeff? Brian?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Anne says yes.
John, yes.
Okay, then we turn off